And a good morning to you. And I want to say, I can't remember if it's Glenn Fry. I believe it's Glenn Fry and not Don Henley. It had the great song, "The Heat is On."
It is.
And it is.
Yeah.
It is on for today. Been nice so far, but that humidity and heat's going to creep on up there a little bit. I was trying to remember what it was I saw this morning on the news talking about weather, and I want to say that, we're kind of late not to have hit 90 yet. And I think I saw this morning the latest we've ever hit 90 was like July the 9th. And I can't remember how many years ago it was.
And
the earliest was a day in March.
No, that's right. But it was 10 or 12 years ago because I was coaching Legion ball, and it was like you said, the very early July, and we hadn't hit 90 all summer.
Oh, yeah.
And then once we hit 90, it stayed 90 for like 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah, it ain't playing.
But I do remember that because we were all like, wow, this is great. And then 2 days later, here it came.
I know I mowed my yard Tuesday night, and I'll be honest with you, it's dry. A lot of dust, even though we had that little bit of rain Sunday night. Yeah, but calling for 88 today, 92 tomorrow, 90 for Saturday, 87 Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday, 90. And then Wednesday, Thursday's 89. Friday is 90, and the following Saturday is 92. And the first chance of rain is next Friday, a week. It's a week before we got any chance of rain.
It's 90 that whole week.
Just about where you say good. 89.
Yeah, it's 500. It's good.
Yeah, so it's going to be ugly weather-wise. Now, I hope you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, that's great. I'm happy for you. I just don't want any part of it. That's my thing. I have no desire whatsoever for heat. I don't like heat, and I want to make sure that I stay out of the heat as much as I can. So what I'm going to do is probably hang out inside in the air condition most of the time, just because that's what I want to do. So anyway, you guys, hope you're having a great day. If you got stuff to do, I would do it early this morning. I would not do it late in the afternoon. I would do it early if you possibly can. I do have Facebook. I see our post up this morning, so if you got some comments, you can call in. I'd be happy to have this with you. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here, and I'm going to stun you, okay? I'm going to stun you. Did you know, or do you have any idea how many years ago it was that Mickey Mantle retired?
Was it 50?
55. This is one of those things kind of makes you feel.
Oh, yeah, right.
All right, I give you this.
Well, I'm 52, so I don't remember.
If he were alive, he would be 88 now, but he passed away 46 years ago. That was the Big E, Elvis. Mm-hmm. This is the other thing. Michael Jackson's The Thriller is 40 years old.
Yep.
That's just, I mean, to me, it's just
fascinating.
Yeah. Back to the Future is 39 years old.
Yep.
Let's see. The Corvette turned 70 this year. That's how long the Corvette's been around.
Whoa.
Bonanza premiered 64 years ago. The Beatles split up 54 years ago. And The Wizard of Oz is 84 years old.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Kind of puts things in perspective a little bit for you.
Pay no attention to the man behind
the curtain. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
That really brings it home, doesn't it?
Have you ever been up to Land of Oz?
Oh, yeah.
We went one time.
Gotta do that if you had never
We
done
went
it.
down, they opened up a couple weekends, but I had never been as a kid. But it is, I hate that so much of it's kind of been destroyed, but it's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice.
It's pretty cool. Like, it takes you back to that moment, when you watched Wizard of Oz the first couple of times in your life. And, it's up there on Beach Mountain, and they, like you said, they kind of do this little thing every, for a weekend or two and kind of bring it back. Yeah, and you can walk around, and it's really neat how they do that.
It is neat.
Yeah, it's sad that so many of the smaller attractions
Ghost Town
years, have just kind of gone by the wayside, and that's okay. Things, time goes on, things change, but man, that's one of those things that just time never got its hands on, and it's just stayed relevant in everybody's life. The Wizard of Oz, and it's a very telling movie. if you look at all the things that go on, little innuendos,
right?
Hollywood would not make that movie today.
Yeah, I mean, you just there's
look, full transparency. That's where it is, man.
And there's a lot of things that once you get it explained to you, you're like, how did I miss that? But that's the way movies and TV shows. A lot of the stuff on Nickelodeon, those kid cartoons, they're as much for adults as they are kids because the kids don't see it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But the adults do. This came out, I did not know this, but Tom Brady has been inducted into the New England Patriots Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, man.
And it was a sold-out ceremony yesterday in front of 60,000 fans at Gillette Stadium.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way that any – I mean, that's a slam dunk there's ever been.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Kraft announcing that the jersey number 12 will never be worn again in New England. He also announced that a statue of Brady measuring 12 feet tall will be unveiled during the 24th season, something the franchise has never done before. Kraft said, our goal was to create a once-in-a-lifetime ceremony for a one-of-a-kind player. Yep. I hope we can accomplish that goal with a few first. And that's, I mean, well-deserved. And I was never a Brady fan, okay? I actually despised the guy till he left New England and became human.
But you got to know him.
Yeah.
The whole
you didn't get to know him.
And he was as much to blame as Belichick was for that because and I say to blame, that was what he did. He was all in. He showed you that he was the ultimate team guy, and none of us ever knew that. He wouldn't even do radio things, in New England, live show. And I remember when he went to Tampa, and one of my clients that lives outside of Boston said, he said a couple of radio guys up here are mad at him because he never would do shows. The first thing he did when he went to Tampa was got on the air.
It was different. It was a different
and that's what he was saying. He's like, he said, we're going to miss him, and we love him, and it's going to be awful without him. He said, but we're kind of glad he's doing his thing and getting to do what he wants to do.
Here's the other thing that's kind of unique, I think. More than 100 of his teammates and former coaches attended the ceremony, including Belichick. First time Belichick was back at Gillette Stadium since he and the Patriots parted ways in January. And, it said that Brady noted that Belichick, who was one of the night's featured speakers, received a thunderous ovation. Yeah. And I'm sure that he did.
Oh, yeah. Look right there. Yep. I mean, Belichick, to me.
And they say Belichick is a barrel of fun getting away from the football field.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that perception is not the reality, right? And he is one of them. We perceive him to be such and such when in reality he is not. The football coach maybe. We still don't know that yet either because he doesn't engage. Mm-hmm. He's disengaged. He only cares about preparation and that week's game and winning. And there's some coaches, that a lot of times successful coaches are very misunderstood.
Yes.
Very misunderstood.
Because they're so focused.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing was, this is a quote from Tom Brady. He said, "It wasn't me, it wasn't you, it was us," when talking about Bill Belichick. "Let me make this crystal clear. There is no coach in the world I would rather play for than Bill Belichick."
There you go.
And so, and the other thing that was a surprise, Brady's longtime rival, Peyton Manning, came live.
Oh, yeah.
He delivered his marks in person because he said Brady was there for him at the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction in 21.
He was.
And I think that was just awesome. Just awesome. But I didn't know that was coming. I missed that somewhere along the way.
They didn't say anything about it.
I didn't know it, but somebody had to know it if 60,000 people showed up.
My point is it was on page 8 at the very bottom of the back. The page 8's on the back. I mean, who would have known?
A couple things. I'm going to stay NFL for a little while because I heard some of the sports talk that I heard yesterday. Right now, Sam Darnold is QB1 for the Vikings. Now, to me, I like that because let's give him a chance, J.J. McCarthy a chance. And he was on Cowherd yesterday.
It's great.
And made comments.
Yes.
And he said, I had a chance to work with him. And the thing of it is, J.J. McCarthy will get there, but don't hurry the process.
Right.
Be patient.
Yeah, let's lead him into it. And think about this. Had that not happened in Green Bay, where, and not just Green Bay, right? With the exit of, Rodgers, and think about how much better some of these younger quarterbacks would be if they just were able to watch, get reps, get in every now and then when it's really irrelevant, just to get acclimated to the environment, right?
Yep.
The three things, I'll just do this. There's two major things that competitors that are serious need to have available, Lanny. Number one, the environment. If the environment is good, then you go to number two. Number two means, am I getting an opportunity? And an opportunity doesn't mean necessarily to play right away, but an opportunity
to be evaluated.
Yes, to grow, evaluate, be evaluated, and learn. So my growth will equal or start rising to the point where when I'm out there performing, that I have an opportunity to be successful and help my team in whatever regard that is. This transfer portal thing, most of the time, both of those are disregarded. People say, well, I'm transferring because I'm not playing. Now,
right.
Wait. Is the environment good? More times than not, the answer is yes. Number two, once you check that first box, number two, am I getting an opportunity to improve myself, getting the opportunity to perform? Now, if you can't answer yes to that truthfully, then you got to reevaluate, because that's what you're.
I hope that this comment from McCarthy was not just sports page talk, because here's what he said when he spoke to reporters Wednesday. McCarthy said he spent the spring focused on improvement more than competing with Darnold.
Right. Because he's not in control of who makes that decision.
That's correct.
He's in control of improving
if he can improve himself to where he performs better than Darnold, there's not a coach out there that's not going to start him in front of him.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, growth doesn't happen like this. It doesn't go, and then you're ready, right? You got growth with failure and setbacks and learning. It's not like A to B. You gotta
McCarthy added to that. McCarthy said he understands growth is not a straight line. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. But I'm trying to maintain that trajectory of going up and up. I feel like I'm on that, just attacking every day with a growth mindset, and it's been doing me well so far. The key is when you go up, you don't drop as low as you were or below that, so that the overall trajectory that's moving up and down continues to incline. And that's what he's saying. And I think so many athletes come in and they do not have a true self-evaluation of where they're at, what they can do, and what, as you said, and I tell my kids this all the time, do not spend time over things you cannot control. Because why would you do that? If you're wasting energy over something you have no control, no matter how much it pisses you off, why do you waste time on it? You can't change it. All you can change is you. And that's either in improving yourself or changing your environment or whatever it is. You've got to make that decision, and you got to make that growth.
And the mindset is the most important thing of anything you're doing, right? It's like when you have a leader that's out there speaking, or you have leaders, and it could be on the sports teams talking to teammates. It could be public leaders, elected leaders, speaking to people and getting everybody riled up, about things. When you're in the sports, locker room or on the field, you have a common interest, right? And that leader's able to get in there to those players, to his teammates, his or her teammates, and say, this is what we need to do. Let's go. And what you have to decide is what that leader is telling me. Is this something that I'm on board with? And then you can get your passion behind that, right? Or, is the leader just talking about themselves, right? And Laney, it's one thing I was talking to kids last night about. I said, you're here, and we're still dealing with 18, 19-year-olds, some 16, 17,
Yeah.
right? I said, you're here, and this is where you want to be. You cannot close that gap in one night or one day or one at bat or one pitch.
Right.
Right? What you have to do is do things to close that gap every day. Just a little bit. Work on things, reflect, evaluate. Baseball is a game of failure. You're going to get thrown, over the top touchdown passes if you're a DB in football. You're going to have some great deflections. You're going to have successes and failures. It's never about the situation as much as it is, to your point, how you handle that situation.
Well, McCarthy, he was asked about whether it makes it easier to accept mistakes, and he said, I definitely get down on myself just being the perfectionist that I am, but you have to accept it. They're inevitable.
Right.
Failure is inevitable in sports.
100%.
You've got to learn from them and learn from those little dips and not be attached to them emotionally. And he said, that's what I've been working and focusing on. And so, I think it's good. He had nothing to say but good things about Sam Darnold. He said, I grew up watching him.
Yeah.
And he said, he said, I'm just trying to be a sponge, observing, hopefully, eventually one day surpassing them. But right now, they're just phenomenal human beings who are sharing their wisdom with me, and I just can't thank them enough and can't wait for training camp. And that is the right approach to have. That's one of the things, and I think that's one of the things that hurt Baker Mayfield when he first came in. He thought he was already there. And now that he has time to learn and has adjusted through he's a much better player now than he was. But it's that self-evaluation.
There it is. What did he do? He kept looking out. Early on, look out. This. He started looking inward and saying, wait a minute. It's not as much about out there as it is me. I need to improve myself as a person and as a player. And look what he had a great year last year. It was,
he had somebody that really wanted him.
Right. But as being critical, I was very critical of him because the attributes that it takes to be successful, he was not displaying. He was displaying flashes of greatness from athleticism, but the athleticism has to come from somewhere inside as well, right? And he was not doing that for the longest time. He's more worried about making gestures, inappropriate, saying things, talking this, talking that.
He just wanted to focus on it. And he wanted to focus on it for the wrong reasons.
Right. And now he's in a great spot.
Yeah.
And has an opportunity to actually, believe it or not, take Tampa Bay to the next step.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Now, another rookie quarterback that's out there, and this was another thing, everybody that talks about this kid talks about his maturity. And you don't find that with a lot of rookies. But if you look at the program he came out of, LSU, I'm talking about Jaden Daniels. He's with the Commanders now. But it said teammates and coaches have shared quite often how impressed they are with his first off season. The only person who isn't buying into that hype is Jaden Daniels himself. He said, I ain't a start quarterback yet. He said, I got a long way to go. I'm a rookie. And there's the deal.
Good.
There's the deal.
Keep saying that and then doing the other.
Says that teammates have praised him. He can sling it, the maturity on the field. And this is where we've talked about it so many times. It is your ability to lead and not just be there because of your athletic ability. Says that Daniels arrives in Washington. He said, I just want to do my job, and it's not elevating himself to any status other than a rookie. He's been working on everything. He arrives at the facility at 5:45, watches film, does walkthroughs in the practice bubble, and has some receivers there with him. And he also picks the brains of veterans, and not just offensive veterans, but defensive veterans, so he knows what they're looking for and what their keys are looking at when they're talking about playing a different quarterback.
Exactly.
So I think that's big, and I'm hoping, and you talk about it sometimes, I'm hoping that we have kind of swung that pendulum a little bit. We got kids that are coming through into professional sports that have a different outlook, and it's more.
We got more MJ focused kids than we do LeBron focused kids, and again, LeBron James is incredibly successful from the standpoint, of things that he's accomplished as a professional athlete. There's many things that I disagree with what he says and does, but that doesn't make him wrong and me right. That is his right as an American, and I fully respect that. But I don't have to agree with it.
That's correct.
But yet,
But yet, you can put that on the side to evaluate his athletic performance and what he's accomplished,
right? And then how we handle ourselves on and off the court, right? And in whether or not I can fairly evaluate and judge that. People say, don't judge me, don't listen. The only way that we can make a decision about something that we see, whether it's right or wrong, is to use our experiences and then provide judgment from those of whether we would do it. I'm not talking about judgment like the Lord does when we pass, right? I'm talking about just trying to make a decision. And there's too much of that, to suppress, ideas for, the longest time that didn't agree with a certain narrative. You can't do that because that doesn't win out. Okay, the same people for so many years in sports that were talking about, this, that, and the other, and trying to have platforms. As soon as, somebody disagreed with theirs, they were doing the same thing that said being done to them. You can't do that in the sports world. And what's happened is they've already started setting the tone. And believe it or not, it never comes up until an election year. And you know what? I don't care talking about it, okay, because I'm sick of the crap.
Right.
We're not going to take a knee this year. Well, what does that mean? First of all, people are tuning in to enjoy the game, to watch their team compete or a player they follow. Because we have fantasy football, so people a lot of times follow players instead of teams. That's okay. But they're engaged. What do they want to be engaged about? I'm sure Vegas has a line that's betting on how many people won't stand for the anthem or turn their back or what. Just all this is just insane. There two things. Number one, well, I'm not going to go into that today, but what's happening is these younger players are coming through going, wait a minute. I'm out here competing. I've got a job to do. I don't think people really care so much about what I think about certain issues as much as what I think about next week's game and how hard we're going to play, because they already have enough that they're dealing with. Why am I trying to get them riled up and about something that they might not be informed about?
I'm okay with you having your opinion. I don't like it on certain platforms.
They got to stop that.
And I think you're seeing this change, and everything is changed and dictated by eyeballs that get on it. And when people have had enough, they let you know kind of indirectly. Let me take a break. When we come back, there is technology coming to the NFL that's only 25 years behind. Next.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name.
First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with departments staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. Glad to have you here on a hot Thursday morning. It says it's 69 degrees. I think it's lying, but we'll go with it since that's what it says.
It felt pretty good a little while ago, but I could feel it coming on, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The heat is on.
You just kind of know.
The heat is on. All right, I'm going to give you something I just saw, and it is one of those things that should have already been done, but there should be better ways, and you can think of multiple examples when you're talking about checking for a first down. And the infamous Serator said it was the infamous one where everybody talks about it is you remember the index card?
Yes. I mean, you got
the index card to see if it fit. Well,
I get it.
With GPS, it's not one of those things. You shouldn't have to wait for the chain gang to come out there, and you've got little discrepancies on where the clip is set up on the yard line and all those kind of things. And you're wondering about, are the lines perfectly straight?
That was my question.
That
was going to be my question to you. So is every field GPS lasered? And again, I'm not being that guy. Well, I'm just asking that question where – from a satellite or from GPS technology, this comes down on the field, is everything in order for that? Because let me tell you something, if it's not, then it's no different than human error as far as making the measurement. So when we talk about computers, is it artificial intelligence or is it just artificial information, right?
No, here's what they're saying. At the league meetings in March, owners approved using optimal tracking in the preseason, a system which, after the ball is spotted by hand, notifies the officials instantly if a first down was gained. Once the ball is spotted, now I would have taken it I would be in my ear telling me where to spot that thing. But I'll take this. This is better. At the end of the preseason this year, they'll make a decision for a full rollout. Owners approved expanding testing of a skeletal tracking system designed by sports technology called Hawkeye Innovation, which adds cameras to stadiums to track players, officials, and the ball. In the preseason, the NFL will provide back judges with smartwatches assisted by the skeletal system that include basic game details and will vibrate when there's a delay in a game, according to multiple league sources. But those potential changes don't necessarily mean the end of the chain gang, just the end of the chain gang as we know it. The chains will remain on the sidelines in any scenario that the NFL moves forward, but it would be a backup for measurement and a visual indicator of where the line to gain is and where the line of scrimmage is for coaches, fans, and players. Now,
so can you challenge that if you have to spot the ball?
My guess would be not, but it says our current system for how we measure first down has a certain level of accuracy. I won't say it's 100% because of the element of human error in it. It's almost everything. But what we want to make sure of is that this new technology is going to be more accurate than what we're currently using, and then we get it quickly, if not quicker, than the time that it takes. To me, here's the whole thing. The 10-yard first down rule has been in place since 1920, rule inception, okay? The part that bothers me the most when they do this is when it's 4th and 6 inches or 3rd and 6 inches and you've got the pile-up scrum. You really can't see or know where the ball was when the player was deemed down because it's inside of a pile. That's where I think you really need the GPS because the GPS would tell you whether he made the line or gain or not.
This is the problem with that. See, I like what you're saying. This is the problem. You don't know when they're in that pile or scrum when the knee or forearm are down. So
and you're just going to be forward motion.
So the next thing that may come from this, correct now, let's futuristic world, George Jetson stuff here, is they're going to start having GPS on the uniforms for the knees, elbows, forearms, or whatever.
Sideline catches?
I mean, this is where we're going with this. My question is, do we really want to do this, or do we want to stay with the human element of things? The reason I believe personally that all this stuff with technology is coming out because of betting.
Oh, it is, and they're quick to tell you because
and I'm not saying
and here's the deal.
That's just what I believe.
They're gonna what they're doing is they're gonna bring technology in so that you make sure what you called is correct. Like, for example, and you correct me on this because I don't know that it's being used, but I think it is. In Major League Baseball, they're not completely using the box, but isn't there something
they're playing around with it.
But there's something in the umpire's ear.
They're trying to make sure that with the changes that they've implemented with speed up and number of this, that, or the other, okay, time in between, all that they're trying to be as efficient as they can be to be able to call. What's happened is you, and it's like this in life, in jobs and sports and egotistical maniacs. Okay, we see it in politics too, right? We do. What happens is you have officials, and you and I think you may even comment on, shared a Facebook thing that I saw from, somebody and just reposted or reshared it with some of the bad calls that Angel Hernandez.
Oh my God,
Joe was. But now look, they've called a tremendous amount of games. Okay. And, there's just a few that are picked out. I saw some last night in our game. We played a doubleheader with Rutherford County at Cherville, and it was hot. And the officials, later, guys behind the plate in the first game and in the second game, things were getting a little erratic with strike zone. The kids, I said, oh, hold on, fellas. Wait a minute. It's really hot, okay? And they're human. So you're going to have to they're not calling a ball that far out of the zone on purpose. Okay, now people say, yeah, you just want to get out of here and stuff like that. Until you've ever done that, you don't know. Now that doesn't mean you still don't have the right to, even though you can't argue balls and strikes. You kind of say, hey man, look, let's get refocused here. I know we're getting tired, and it's just like that in all of our lives as husbands, fathers. We've made those mistakes too, and we lost our focus, right? But it's getting to the point where everything is so cherry picked for the meme or the reel or the moment. It's like, everything's intentional. Having said that, the egomaniacs in sports, that's a little different. And what's unfortunate is it's always that one person or two people out of like 10,000 that cause the rest of us to have to go through all these things that we would never even think about doing inappropriately for friends or clients or what, right? You know what I'm saying? Regulatory, all that. And that's just kind of where we're at.
That's mine.
Okay,
it's sitting over because it didn't charge last night.
That's impressive. I can hear that really good.
That's because I'm old.
No, it's good mic.
I know I'm old.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think it's critical when you need to know when that player crossed the goal line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there again, when you're inside in a scrum,
right.
I would like to see it with the ball, like you were talking about, different sensors. Some of the sideline catches are a little disputable. Now, from a baseball standpoint, this is what I would like to see, and I don't think it's there yet, but you can't replace umpires. You still got to have them.
It's coming.
But I think from a balls and strike standpoint, that should be cut and dried enough, and it will speed up the game as well. And pitchers and batters both know where it's at.
And you know who knows better than they do?
Who?
The catchers.
Yeah.
they are really, really good.
The part I have the problem I have with catchers is the framing.
Well, okay, so
because the umpire really can't see, especially if it's a low ball.
Well, and a lot of times by consequence and unintended, technology takes away from the ability to hone your craft in. And people say, well, framing is deceptive. Listen. Nobody's starving out here, okay? Nobody's not being given food or water. So let's just back off of the holier than thou thing for a moment, okay? Yeah, it's one of those things where, if you fake too good in the triple option in football, that's deception. A lot of times the ball, and you and I have both seen this in high school football, and I've seen it in college football. The ball gets blown dead and the fullback doesn't have the football because of the fakes. Again, I'm not saying they did it on purpose. There are mistakes made, but when you take out the human factor of things, then the emotional side becomes like this. And so therefore engagement will do this because we are spiritual beings in human form. People say human beings. We're emotional beings. Well, when you take everything out that has to do with emotion, then interest drops, all in the name of let's make it better.
Now, to me, I don't look at it that way. Right, I like it better. I want to see the pure sport, and I want to see it handled right, and I want to see everybody handled right.
And I'm going to tell you why. That's a great point. But that's because you grew up being able to express and feel those emotions and highs and lows. What happens is when you become attuned to things and you just, or let's just say you don't, where you're just tuned out and it's not emotional anymore and it just is what it is, you just sit there and look at it.
Well,
and then it's not exciting.
One of your favorite sayings, and you say this all the time, don't just be right, get it right.
Do the right thing for right reason.
And that's why I want to see some of this implemented for that reason.
You're in my generation. I would say, to your point and the way you feel about it, I'm of the other 10%, but I would say it's at least 90, Laney, because of all the things that we feel like we've seen that have been wrong. Oh, I can't believe that official made that call. That guy lost that no-hitter. They should change that in the books. What an injustice. Now, again, nobody's been deprived of food.
Now, here
or
again,
water.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
It's just like when officials swallow the whistle in a basketball game or a football game in the last few seconds of a game, and they swallow the whistle. If it was a foul or it was a penalty in the third quarter, in the middle of it when nothing was on the line, it should be the same thing here.
So this is why sports, and to my thought on it, are so important for young people to play, because it teaches you that sometimes no matter how hard you work, no matter how hard you go out and perform, and you thought you were successful, and you probably were.
And how right you were.
Right, that somebody that's above you will feel the other way or do something the other way. And in life, it's like I told some of the kids last night, we're getting our rear ends kicked by Rutherford County in a doubleheader. I said, guys, it's not about the situation as much as it is how you handle the situation. And what it does is it refines you and makes you better by hearing the word no, or that I disagree with you, even though in your mind and your heart, you know that you're right. How many times have you on a job, especially in public schools, known that what you were doing was the right thing, but the person that is above you as far as the hierarchy standard of who makes final decisions says, no, I'm not doing that.
I want to go back to what you said.
How many times?
I want to go back to what you said a minute ago when you talked about a team's running the wing tee, and the deception they've got, and a play's blown dead because they thought this kid had the ball and he didn't.
The ball, right,
now, the way that rule works currently in all those sports is the play ends right then.
On the whistle.
Okay?
Yeah, on the whistle. That's right.
The problem that I have with that is that I like about volleyball when they have a problem like that, you know what the official does? Replay. That play did not count because there was a mistake made and it stopped the momentum, okay? So we don't need to count that. We need to replay that because we had an error in judgment. And I'm okay with when there is things like that happen.
Yeah. But
my thing is I would rather see a replay than I would to say, okay, we're going to go on because it's not – because it was an outcome that was of no fault of anyone competing in the game.
Right.
Okay? Somebody's getting punished. Whether it's the offense because the guy scored and they blew it dead before he went in because they didn't realize he had the ball, or the defense. I don't like to see any athlete deprived of the opportunity because of a mistake, whether it was intentional or not intentional. That's my whole thing.
So now again, I'm playing the flip side of this because I got to tell you, it's a good point. But how many times have athletes experienced success on a perceived catch or a perceived called touchdown?
But here's the deal. I don't see that either. That's what I'm saying.
Right. But there's always a yin and a yang, and that's why things are called averages. And what tends to happen over time is those things work themselves out. It's like this with the balls and strikes. A few weeks ago, there's a softball game over in Maiden. They're playing West Lincoln, and the strike zone was so erratic. In full disclosure here, they asked me to leave the stadium, and I had no problem with that because I watched.
And it was erratic both teams.
That's what upset me. Because those kids now I live
everybody
in Maiden,
was paying that price.
Right. But and I know I got many friends, as you know, and thanks to you and other people, coaching out, whatever. I got many friends in the West Lincoln community. Alan Chapman, their softball coach, is one of my dearest friends. He used to coach baseball, and we, went against each other for years. And what's crazy is his college or his high school teammate in Legion ended up being my roommate in college. So we have not only just the point of all this is there was more invested into, that. My niece was pitching for Maiden, no problem. The problem is that balls are being called strikes that were 3 and 4 balls in on the plate, and balls that were hitting the, outer part of the plate were being called balls. That way for West Lincoln, that way for Maiden. Okay. The problem is it got more erratic as the game went on, and you have two great hitting teams.
Yeah.
Now, in the booking agent, so I call him, and I know the booking agent. I say, who is that guy you sent? He says, he's my best umpire in the area, and he does college games, and I felt like I need to send him. I said, it's a sad day. I said, now, he could have been having a bad game. I said, but this is the problem. He started acknowledging me from the stands, and that's something you should never do. He stops the game, goes over and stands by our coach, and basically tells him, I'm not calling him more until he leaves. And you know what? I was fine. I had no problem getting up and leaving. The point is, I'm not sitting there and watching that crap when these kids work as hard as they do. And we only had 3 hits between the two teams. And this is, these are two teams that hit the ball very well. Macy Michael didn't even have a hit. She is the greatest home run hitter ever to walk at Maiden High School, ever. Hands down, no question. I don't care how long you've lived in Maiden. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. Baseball or softball. I can tell you that. I don't care if you've lived here 1,000 years. Like, well, so-and-so, I don't want to hear it. Okay? She is the best. She couldn't figure out what a strike zone was.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. You wouldn't have had nearly as big a problem with the calls not being correct if they didn't change all night.
It messed the kids
up. That's where you get a pitcher that understands where the strike zone is. You get hitters that understand, okay, he's going to give him 3 inches off the plate. That's going to be a strike. I know it's coming. But when it changes is when it's not right.
I'm 100% agree. And this is the thing. People say, well, people give umpires too hard a time. Let me tell you something. Number one, they're being paid for service. Okay. Number two, that part And I was a little rough, but I did it on purpose.
Right.
And I could care less if there was 50 people at that game or 500. I don't care because it's not about that. We have got to get this crap corrected. Okay, the egotistical maniac stuff behind the plate and in the field and on the football field and not talking to coaches and, taking things upon your own and speaking to players about stuff. I don't know. That is not the point of all this. And I've been doing this too long, all right, and watching all these things and seeing too many good officials to determine in a game like this in the conference championship the outcome of a game based off of bull crap. I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
Okay? And Lanny, the thing with Angel Hernandez and Joe West and all, the egotistical maniac on the field, all right, or in my case, the fan off the field, right? But the point is, you got to hone these things in and understand that, look, a paycheck is being given out. The time invested by the people that are making the calls is not near the emotional or time investment or physical training of the people that are out there doing.
Right.
And you know what? One of the things I said in the text message to the booking agent was, look, maybe just had a bad night, but it's still inexcusable to be a narcissist about it. Okay? Just like you coaching at Highland. You took a group of kids, you got them to come together, playing as a team, you're developing. Just like me at Madison, you're still the dumbest SOB on the planet coming out of the stands. I can't believe you do this. Oh, you're terrible. And what it does is it teaches you that, really the only opinions that you need to value are the ones that directly affect your ability to perform or help those around you, right? Or
I wasn't interested in what anybody thought about me unless you had something to say about the way I'm handling a kid. That's different.
But
if it's not, you know what I'm saying? If I've got somebody has comments about that, then that's different because that's what I'm there. I'm there for the kids. I'm not for you in the stands. I'm for the kids.
Right, and I'm okay with that. It's just this is the human element that we have to have that keeps emotion and debate alive.
Right.
And I think more and more of that's being taken out with, all under the premise of technology. What is the thing for the kids? Well, we're just trying to make it safer and secure for the kids. Well, okay, so you implement a pitch count that has nothing to do with just some arbitrary number. So when the kid's done pitching, you put him at shortstop.
Right.
What in the hell are we talking about?
It's not exiting the game.
Or they go to center field.
Yeah.
Look. They only have a short amount of time to go out and play and compete and learn life lessons. And we're taking that away for the safety and security of our kids.
Yeah.
So you're telling me it's okay. And I'm almost done. All right, I'm on number 2 here. I'm almost done. You're telling me it's okay for kids to line up head-to-head or 10 yards apart and mash each other and have helmet-to-helmet collisions that are unintentional, all right? And you don't regulate that. But this kid can only throw 105 pitches because it might hurt their arm. Are you friggin' kidding me?
Well,
number one, what planet are you from? Because it ain't Earth, okay? And number 2, do you really know that 105 pitches is the max? Or do you know that this kid trains 6 days a week to pitch on the 7th and their body's in good shape and God makes us all different and there's no arbitrary number, okay, that says 105 is the magic number or 30 you take this day off or you got to stop this crap.
Well, the problem is
because you're holding back opportunity.
You're not being consistent, and if you're not consistent, it's hard for people.
You're
to
being
understand.
Big Brother,
yeah.
And let me tell you something. I don't need that from you when it comes to my kid. Okay, and if somebody's not educated on an issue, whose fault is that?
That's right.
That is that person or that parent's. It's not my kid, your kid,
right.
Anybody else's kid. I don't care if it's baseball, softball, football. It's not, this whole thing about we got to make it safer. It is sport, okay? The abuse of arms and things like that are mainly because kids don't do anything Monday through Friday and then go throw 16 innings Saturday and Sunday. That's the friggin' problem, okay? It's not about how many. It's the quality in which or unquality of what they do prior to going out there and performing the task.
Yep.
Okay, I can tell you that, and I'm going to be done here. I can tell you that watching weight training and serious weight training in high school, and East Surrey's a great example of that. Quinn's group coming through Maiden is a great example of that. There's 6 or 7 kids that work in the weight room, and they train and they run, and their bodies are in shape. It's soft tissue. It was at a 0 for those 5 or 6 kids that we had. They never missed a game. They never got hurt unless, in DJ's case, he broke his ankle because it wasn't soft tissue. That was a bone.
Right.
Now that's going to happen. The point is, none of those kids ever came off the field, missed practice, missed games because they trained appropriately. Why would you punish any of those, okay, for other ones that don't? Why? To make it fair? I don't want to hear that crap anymore either. Okay, this whole thing about fair is fair means one side got what they want, the other side had to give up.
That's right.
That's what fair means. Okay, it's like it's like
there's a difference between fair and equitable.
Well, I mean, it's opportunity, not equal outcome. It's opportunity, right? You go out there, you go get it, you grind, you do your thing, and if you fail, that's okay. If you succeed, that's great. But at least you've learned, and you don't have to hide behind, well, things aren't fair. It's not fair. And you start screaming and shouting about everything because of fairness. I don't want to hear that crap. The question is, what can the kids that live in this district do that the opportunity they got versus what does kids in this district do? Well, yeah, but booster clubs can't go out and, raise money and then, pay it to the coaches. We can't do that. That's not fair. Well, that other community over there doesn't have the same resource. Okay, number one, yeah, they do. Okay, a lot of money's been printed over the last several years, so it's out there. It's out there, right? Our capital markets are incredibly strong.
There's people that don't have the same initiative or desire.
Well, the problem is it can't be regulated from the top.
Right.
And if somebody doesn't feel like they're in control, then the first thing you want to do is say, well, this isn't right, because they're afraid of it's a power struggle.
Yeah.
Instead of letting the things rise and get better through the free markets around us for our communities, we're more worried about regulation. That is the hampering part of sports. That's why high school sports is dissipating, all right, and other things on the side are rising because there's not equal opportunity. There's equal outcome, or that's what's trying to be made. You can't do that. You can't do that in a, and the other thing is, people say, well, our democracy, we're a republic, all right? We have representation built out within the platform to balance both sides. That way the minority, opinion is never suppressed.
Right.
Right? And what happens is that's the way it was intended in our public school structure as well. But now it's gone to more of, authoritarian type stuff.
Right.
And that's ridiculous. The whole idea of consolidation was to make sure that individual communities can now pool together at one central location and get the resources they need, not be ruled upon, from this, that, or the other. I would love to see, for the sake of athletics in our individual communities, they take control back of their schools. I mean, the school boards the people work really hard. They, do the best they can do, but their hands are tied. Right, because the way we set up things in Catawba County, representation, we don't have each community represented. It's just, hey, throw them all in there, and whoever gets elected gets elected.
Right.
That's crazy.
They don't have district
We
representation.
don't have representation.
Yeah, Lincoln County's gone through that with county commissioners.
People. You could have 3 people from Maiden, which we've had in the past, be on school board. Well, what about St. Stephen's and Fred T. Ford and Bandy's and they have a right to run. It's just no representation. All right, you have 5. You got 1 at large, and then you can vote for 1 chair. That way you got taken care of.
Yeah.
And again, I'm talking about all on the premise of athletics, but, the academic side of things. We worry about everything except math, reading, actually learning what the Constitution says and doesn't say, okay, and the actual wording in it. And then, science. Science has been a really big deal because we need to follow it. The problem is it changes.
Yeah.
And what's happened is it causes confusion. If we do too much of this in the sports world, that's the whole point of all this. If we do too much in the sports world, Lanny, then it just becomes blah and then does this. We've got to keep the human element alive and make sure everybody, is accountable for their job.
Therein lies the problem.
Yeah, because nobody wants to do it.
No, you can't. Keeping people accountable for their actions, because there's a lot of people out there that do not want to. They want to do what they want to do, but don't question what I do. whether it's right or wrong. Don't question it.
And that's basically why sometimes fans get hostile or upset and are asked to leave.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Let me give you this example. Second quarter, season opening UFL game. There was a running back, caught a pass, ran down one sideline before being forced out of bounds near the first down line. Officials spotted the ball too close to the first down line to determine if it was a first down. So they stopped play, and True Line Technology graphic showed the ball spot was 5 inches short of the line to gain.
There you go.
In total, the review took less than 45 seconds, which is the speed and accuracy that the NFL hopes to implement
because it's done from the booth
on Sundays.
That's because it's done from the booth. It's not done with the head official going in and making the call.
That's right.
And that, to your point, you brought this up several months ago. I like the replay. I just want it a lot faster. Well, then take it off the field, get it up in the booth.
I've said over and over.
Everybody see it.
I've said over and over.
And then do it.
They do it every week. In every Division I college football game, there's a guy sitting at the booth, and he reviews every play. Every play. If there's a problem, he buzzes down and says, "Stop, we got a problem.
Yeah,
we got a problem.
Houston, we got a problem."
And you don't even know that he's there or involved until there is actually a problem.
Right.
And that's the way it should be done. The only other thing I was going to say is that the one thing that amazed me as I keep reading through this, one of the companies that's supplying this is Zebra Technologies. And if you don't know what Zebra Technologies is, I'm pretty sure that's the people that make so many label printers that use barcodes and all that kind of stuff. Zebra manufactures that. But it's made possible because there's a chip inside the football, and there are 20 to 30 receivers inside the stadium, and they're able to track the ball to within 6 inches of its precise location. 6 inches. You can't do that human.
Well, let me tell you this. So from what I understand, and I've not verified this, but I'm pretty sure it's accurate. When you go down to Morehead City, you go about 150 yards off the coast. All right? And the GPS trackers will tell you it's 90 feet below sea level. Now, I don't know if that's been fixed, but when we were down there 4 or 5 years ago, I was talking to some of the locals, and they were showing me out from the sanitary fish market, you can see in the sound area there, the intercoastal, whatever, like, you go right out there and it'll put your GPS out, say you're 45 feet below sea level, and you're out there on sea level. So as much as we would like to think that things are perfect, they're only as accurate as the information and people that program them to be.
Well, what's going to happen, though, with this, they're basically setting up a grid of that football field, and you know where it's at. You're not coming down from a satellite like GPS. They're putting the technology into the space that it affects, and that's it. And that's where it comes in. I would like to see it on sidelines, the whole 9 yards. Because sometimes there's officials they don't need to be, they don't mean to be, but they're out of position, and they can't make a call.
Right, and again, the flip side of this, and I'm probably on the 1% that don't like it. All right, I know everybody else probably does, but so goes life.
I know.
You don't get a replay or reset when you're a dad and you make a bad decision.
Nope.
You have to learn from it and move on, and you got to be able to handle it, right? And on your job, the boss, you know what you want to do.
But the problem is
the right thing, but you got to be able to learn it. A lot of times you don't have that control.
There's the key, and that I think that's been the problem with some of the officiating. Is they, like we were talking about, a rookie that comes into the league, they're not able to fairly step back and evaluate, did I do the right things? Did I do the best that I could on my judgment? If Angel Hernandez, Joe West, if the league went back and said, look, here's where you're missing it. Now, we want you to continue to be an umpire, but you got to get better than this. You did it. You did it 2 games ago. Why can't you do it tonight?
Madison Bumgarner asked for another baseball. And this is why I got thrown out of the softball game, by the way, because that was my niece was pitching. She'd warmed up, and the ball was not right, like it was wet or didn't feel right. She asked for another ball. You normally just pull one out, look at that ball, put it in your pocket, pull one out, give it. He takes a look at it, says there's nothing wrong with it, throws it back to her. lost my. That was it. You don't do that. Why would you do that? There's nothing wrong with that ball
right
because I said there's not.
Right there's why, and that's what I'm saying.
Let me tell you something. I don't care. Yeah, I might serve on town council and all that, and upstanding in this, do. Let me tell you something, dude. When I see something like that, what I've seen the last several years in this country and locally and all this crap, I'm not being quiet anymore. Okay, so come kidnap me, throw me in a bunker, and leave me. If you don't like it. Because I'm done with this crap.
But
it's unbelievable, dude.
To your human error thing, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it as long as you will learn from it and move forward. And that's what's not happening.
No.
And that's why it doesn't work. You have to it forces your hand to get something in so that opportunities are not taken away.
It's absolutely ridiculous. The whole thing, the whole premise, of the egotistical part, and there are coaches like that. And I cannot tell you honestly that probably at some point in my younger years that I didn't have that same issue as a coach.
Right.
And now I'm not talking about all the time, but in certain, you have to learn from. But what I did was I got fairly criticized and objectively criticized, especially not only from my dad, or many of the older coaches around me have been around a long time, or even the umpires that I've known since I was a kid. Because look, you need to just calm down, do some self-reflecting here. Mm-hmm. This is getting a little bit. So what happens is I was talking to some kids last night. A lot of college, and let's just use baseball for example, a lot of college baseball players, when they're out that first year, they get into volunteering and helping at local high schools or whatever. This is the issue with it. It's a transition from the competitive nature as a player to understanding your role as a coach.
Right.
And it takes a long time, Lanny, and some earlier than others, but I can tell you it takes a long time to go from that competitive fire where, if it's not working out, you're ready to fight almost, right? But you know what I mean, just really intense about it, to where you have to be, thinking more about it, look at the big picture. It's not about the moment as much as it is about how you handle the situation, the growth and development that you're trying to now help others, and it's not about you competing.
Yeah.
And it's very easy for people that have never been in that situation to be very judgmental about that. And that's okay. They have every right to do that. But until you've been there, done it, and it takes a while to – and I would say it probably took me 5 or 6 years. Yeah. I'm being honest. Yeah. I mean, some of the things that I did and said when I was in my 20s, I was very fortunate to be able to be a head coach at a very young age. I say fortunate, maybe not, but for the opportunity anyway, in a couple of different sports, right? But the growth that comes from that and the realization, and as time goes on and you mature and you get fully developed up here, you understand, wait a minute, the decisions I make are very important. I'm going to make mistakes, but the intent is to always be helpful and to try to get it right and to make sure that that person and their experience is maximized the best it can be. Or if it wasn't a good experience, then the learning that came from it will help have greater experiences in a positive way from down the road. So you got to, but there's a level of accountability, and basically what we're doing, just look the other way. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
Okay. That day's over. Okay. That day's over. We're not looking the other way, and we're not saying, oh, there's nothing to see over here. Or not. No. That's over. Don't want to hear the crap anymore. All right. We're going to lead with truth, and when we get it wrong, we can own up to it and get it fixed.
Yeah, that's right.
And that way our kids are okay. There's a lot of mental health. Well, there's a lot of mental health issues because there's been a lack of honesty based on, it might hurt the kid. No, nothing hurts anything more than lack of truth.
No, that's right.
And because not leading with it. Okay?
Somewhere you're not going to be around to protect them from
that's
that.
And they've got to be able to handle situations. They've got to be able to hear the word no.
Yeah, that's right.
And not, just, no, what do you mean? I've always, no. The answer is no.
Yep.
And sometimes it's a hell no.
Yep.
All right, and that's okay too. But we're always trying to find a way to say, yes, we can.
Or how do I get there?
Right.
That's
Close the gap every day, baby.
That's right. Have a good weekend. See you next week.